In class today, we are going to work on some color wheels, and we'll get to that in just a minute, but I wanted to go over the Pointillist dots for you. So you remember that the first drawing you did, that you traced it so that you had two of the same fruit or vegetable? You're going to use that this week on this assignment. So pointillism, the objectives are, hang on, I got to turn my mask over. There's a right side and a wrong side with this, and it always falls down. All right, so we're going to explore the element of art, texture. So far, if you look up on the wall, you'll see that we have done line, color, shape, space. We're going to work a little bit on value today, and so that leaves texture and form. So texture is the surface quality in a work of art. It's the way things look like they feel or actually feel. So you guys are going to use a traditional water and wax resist technique to create an interesting surface effect on a painting based on an influential art movement called Pointillism. And so this is an example of Pointillism here. You're going to create texture by making small paint marks on your image, similar to the way this artist, Georges Seurat, made colored dots on his paintings. I think the dot part will take you about a half hour, 45 minutes or so. So you're going to need the sketch that you already have from your the small object or fruit. You're going to need a pencil, although I don't think you'll actually need a pencil. You're going to need crayons or cray-pas, which is a waxed crayon. And I did put them in your packets to begin with. But I have more if you don't have enough colors from what I gave you in the beginning. Okay, so pointillism was a revolutionary painting technique pioneered by Georges Seurat and Paul Signac in Paris in the mid-1800s. It involved the application of paint in carefully placed dots of pure, unmixed color. So these would be blended by the viewer's eye to create a more striking image than any made after mixing colors conventionally on a palette. So the visual impact of the image was actually a matter of optics, not chemistry. So it depended on the juxtaposition of complementary colors, which enhance each other's intensity. So what that means is a juxtaposition is when you compare side by side two very different things. So right here you can see blue and orange. Dots have been mixed in together. So this is a detail of this painting. So Seurat, he did make lights and darks on his palette, but then he put them side by each so that you would see an entirely different color when you stepped back from a distance. So everything in life has some type of texture. We describe things as being rough, smooth, silky, shiny, fuzzy, and so on. In a piece of art, if it looks like it has texture but it doesn't, we call it simulated texture. So this on the left is a screen print by Roy Lichtenstein, a very famous printmaker, and it's based on a painting or a series of paintings that Monet made of his cathedrals. So this was done in the 1960s as pop art, and then this is an Aboriginal painting from Australia called the Rainbow Serpent, and if you looked really closely at this, you would see that there's all made up of teeny tiny little dots. So these are more modern day examples of what Seurat was doing in the mid to late 1800s. So what you're going to do to make this is basically take your sketch and use different colored crayons to create small dots. So I'm going to play this video for you.
Hello everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood art teacher again, here to give you another step in a project. So I have my 8" by 8" square drawing of a pear, a single object, on a background with a horizon line behind it. And I am going to take some crayons and make a collection of dots on my shape and in the background. So what I'm doing is drawing circles, not quite dots, because it would take way too long to just tap at things with a crayon. I'm leaving a little space in between because I'm going to make more than one color on my pear. I want to combine colors. I have probably a little more of a selection of colors than you folks might, but if you have a lot of colors and you want to do it this way, feel free. So I'm making them smaller than the size of an eraser. This is probably about the same size as a pencil eraser. You can make your dots a little bigger if you want to make them this big around, but I like the way the smaller ones are going to look. So I'm combining a couple of different colors on my pear itself, and I'm going to do the same thing in the background, and I might even use some of the colors in the background that I'm using on the foreground. So I'm going to start with some blues, make some circles, and I'm eventually going to fill up this whole paper with circles, or dots, whatever you want to call them. And I'm pressing down hard enough that they're solid, that they're not sort of disappearing. I'm going to switch to a slightly different color here. Maybe put some of this in with that one. I want to make sure I'm not covering the entire piece of paper because I'm going to do something else with that next week. So here I've got two colors going on in here, and I can sort of slowly fade it out and add in a third color. Here is yet another color of blue. So I'm going to fill this whole background with blues, and then I'm going to go down here and probably put in maybe some reds and pinks and oranges. But I just wanted to show you how big your shapes, your circles and dots should be, and then I'm going to do the rest on a time lapse.
All right, so here is the time lapse version of me filling in the rest of it. And like I said, it took me probably 45 minutes or so. I was trying to change the colors around the edge of the pear so that you would sort of see almost like it had a light shining on it. I chose one set of colors for the object, one set for the background, and in a minute you'll see that I have another set of colors in the foreground. So I kind of grouped cool colors up top and warm colors down below. There are some like yellow greens in with the oranges a little bit down there. You can really see in the top of it, which is upside down, so it's really the bottom of it right now, that some of my dots were bigger, and I think it's nice to have some contrast and some variety there, not all the same size. There, and so that is the first step of the assignment. You are going to be doing another step next week with it. So this is what it ended up looking like. So there's a self-assessment group of questions here just to ask yourself when you think you're done. Have I used different colors in different areas of my image? Do all of my shapes have dots? Does my background have dots? Are my dots small enough? Are my dots close enough? If you see a lot of white space in between them, you could add some more dots in between. And are my dots or circles a dark solid color and filled in completely? So when you're done, you're just going to upload that.